Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Good News Hendo. This is a brand new podcast out of Upward Christian Fellowship, the church that we work at. We are a church located in Hendersonville, North Carolina. My name is Michael Craver. I am our digital director. And you might be asking why we're doing this show. Well, really, we wanted to do this show on the basis that there's so much bad news in the world today, so much going on that seems to be wrong, and we wanted to kind of flood everyone's timeline with good news. So I'll introduce you to our senior pastor, Anthony Craver, which... for the astute listeners, we do have the same last name because he is my father. From here on out, I will call him Dad. It is very weird me just saying Anthony Craver. So, introduce you to him. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm proud to be your dad. Should I call you son going forward?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Anthony or Andy Craver, pastor at Upward. Been here about 24 years now. Love this place. Love these mountains. Love the opportunity to just have some podcast listeners, some new family we can welcome in and talk to and just have a good time with. It's going to be fun.
Yep. We're really excited. It seems like this show has gotten delayed a bunch. I've wanted to do this ever since I came on staff here in November. This has been one of the things I've been really passionate about starting up. So we are excited to finally be here. You want to talk a little bit more about why we wanted to do the show? Or?
Well, we're not trying just to build a following here at the church. I mean, we love the church and love what we're doing here. It's not about just packing people in here. That's just not who we're about. We're not trying to build a great big church of a bunch of people who come to hear me preach every Sunday. We're just trying to build a movement within our community and our region, maybe perhaps our world. We're just trying to serve people and bless people. And what you said was so good. There's so much news out there. I don't know about the listeners, but when I hear the word news anymore, I get a negative feeling. It almost feels like a bad feeling in my stomach when I hear news, because it seems like so much of the news is bad. And we wanted to turn that around a little bit and just fill people's lives with some really good news. So it's not going to be just about our church and what we're doing here. Some of it will be good news we encounter here at the church, but a lot of it's going to be out in the community, just good things we hear that are going on, people blessing and serving others. The cool thing about this, too, I think that could very well happen, that we want to happen, is this to be a platform where people can get involved in that good news. When we highlight a good ministry or just a good a guy serving somebody else, we want to give our listeners a chance where they can jump in and say, hey, I'd like to be involved in that out here in the community. Maybe they're listening from far away in their own community. So I'm really excited just to spread some good news and create opportunities for people to serve together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are pumped to spread good news always. And we thought it'd be awesome to start locally, hence the name of the show, Good News Hendo, but we also don't want to limit to that. We'll actually have an opportunity at the end of the show where you can submit your good news stories, and that maybe yours can end up on an episode.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, so this is episode 1. This is the beginning, and we thought we'd start by saying an incredible story that actually happened at our church here, once again in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Awesome story between two foster kids, actually. So we're actually going to cut away for a minute. When we're back, we'll be back with Pastor Andy and Pastor Leann, our children's pastor. You'll get to meet her, and she'll get to share this awesome story between two foster kids with you. So we'll be right back.
We're back with Good News Hendo. Leann, it is so good to have you here. One of our favorite folks around Upward is Pastor Leann West. She is doing a phenomenal job with our children's ministry here, and known Leann a long time, and she is an incredible blessing. We're just glad to have you here. So glad about just being able to share some good news with the folks.
Absolutely. We're excited to share today. My name is Leann, and I serve as children's pastor here at Upward. Our family's been here a little over 3 years, and we moved here to join the staff here, and it's really been one of the best experiences of our life to be able to be on staff here. Married to my husband, Chris. We've been married about 12 years, and we have 2 really awesome kids, Ella, who is 7, and Miller, who is 1 now.
So Miller just turned 1 this week.
Life is fun.
Life is fun. 7 and 1 year old.
Yep.
Incredible. I just was telling the folks before I came in, I just washed my hands in the restroom on our break, and I looked in the mirror. I didn't even shave today. Podcast number 1, and you got this woolly preacher in here. And I wasn't even thinking like it's going to be recorded. So if you're visually offended by this beard, this manly beard here, please forgive us for that. Anyway, as we said earlier, we're just going to be talking about good news, things that are happening, not just in our church, but in our community. We want to highlight those things. So much bad news out there now, and we're just picking up good stories all the time. And this one, when I first heard it, this story wowed me. One of the things we're doing here is we're really partnering with the fostering community, foster children, fostering parents. We have a small group here that meet regularly. They did at one time. I'm not sure if that's how active that is now, but they meet regularly.
Yes.
There's a real support group here that just meets together for fostering. We're involved with a couple of agencies, and there's so many beautiful stories coming out of that about foster kids. And Leann brought us just a short time ago just this incredible story that happened right here one Sunday, wasn't it, Leann?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it. Love to hear that.
Yeah, so in my role, I'm able to partner with families every week, but I also lead this really awesome team of volunteers who show up every week for kids and families and really get to connect with parents. And some of our families here at Upward are foster families, so we're just really blessed to be able to know them and to just have this front row seat to the care and the ministry that they provide for these kids who are in foster care. So just to highlight a story that we got to be a part of and experience one weekend, there is a sibling group who both of the siblings actually come to church here. And I don't know if you're listening, you may or may not know this, but a lot of times sibling groups are separated in foster care. So,
So these are two kids who got split up in
right.
different homes.
Yes, they're two sisters, and just because of the way, a lot of times it's difficult for families to take in multiple kids. They may not have the means or the space, just different reasons. So a lot of times these kids get separated, and they do get to see each other occasionally, but life is definitely not the same. Someone who you're with every day, and all of a sudden it feels like, I'm sure, that you're being ripped apart. So there's two families here at Upward, and each of them have a sibling from the same family. And there just so happened that one weekend, those two families came to the same service, same weekend, same service, and those two girls got to be in the same room together. The oldest is, I think she was almost 2 at the time, and the other one was an infant at the time. So it was really cool story or experience to be able to share with you guys that yeah, go ahead.
So you got two families coming to Upward.
Yes.
They don't know each other, right?
They knew of each other.
They knew of each other.
Yeah.
But they typically didn't come to the same service. We have about
Correct.
4 services a weekend,
Yes.
so they never ran into each other.
Correct. Yes.
And did you know about this? Did you know they were here?
No.
Had those siblings?
And I did not know that they had the
Yeah.
siblings. So it was just this really cool experience all of a sudden that our volunteers are getting ready to witness. I get to witness it. The foster families are witnessing this experience here. But just to share that with everyone, when the younger sister arrived, the older sister was already in the room. But when the family dropped off the younger infant sister, the older one, who's almost 2, she just lit up. Like, her face, she was smiling, her eyes were bright, and she started yelling, "My sister, my sister!" And she ran toward the door and just embraced her little baby sister. She knew exactly who it was, even at a toddler age.
Wow.
She recognized her baby sister and was just so excited to see her. So it was just a really cool moment that we all got to see. And then, it didn't stop there. The rest of the time, they're together about an hour. But the rest of the time, the older sister just sat on the floor with her baby sister and rubbed her head and just stared at her like in awe, because they don't get to see each other very much. So just really cool moment.
Cool moment.
Yeah.
When I first heard that, I thought, this is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It seems so random that two families would start coming to the same church and then all of a sudden show up at the same service, and they got these two kids together.
Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable.
It's really cool. Just one of the cool things that we get to be a part of through kids ministry, but it really is another reminder of just how important, foster care is, and these parents who step up and they take their time and their energy to give these kids a home and not only meet their physical needs, but they meet their emotional and social needs as well, and they invite a support system into these kids' lives. So really cool.
There's so many unsung heroes in communities around our nation, and right here in Henderson County, there's so many people that are just doing heroic things that nobody really sees.
Yeah.
You've got all kinds of first responders that are there all the time, and very few people see what they do. You've got these foster parents who are just taking a child into their home that may be there just temporarily, right?
Yeah.
and they're serving those kids and loving those kids in such a powerful way. It's heroic to me. I don't think I'm overstating it at all.
No, not at all. The families that we've been able to connect with here at Upward, you can't commend them enough. Just how they give of themselves, and just it really is a selfless sacrifice, and we just are so thankful for the work that they do.
Because the thing that I've always thought about when you think about foster parent, there's no guarantee those children are going to stay with them, right? There's no volunteer. These kids are being placed temporarily a lot of times until they can find the right home for them, or until they go back to their biological family.
Yes, the hope is that they're able to reunite with their family, and this is obviously temporary and it's a season, but the hope is that they can reunite with their family. And sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't, but these foster parents walk through that with them, the celebration and the heartache side of it. So just such a special role that they get to serve in these kids' lives. And
when you see them, these families, you just get a sense that they just have a calling to do something like this.
Absolutely.
They seem to be just overjoyed with it.
Yeah.
How many families would you say we have that have done this multiple times? I know of a few, but we have some families that have done this over and over again with different children, right? Yes,
they continue just to open their home up. I don't know the number of families that we're connected with per se, but they just continue to open their home up. I'm thinking of one family in particular that we've been able to connect with, a good 8 to 10 kids just over the past few years through them. So yes, there just really is a selfless role that they serve in, and just so thankful for them.
Yeah, you'll just look around and you'll see them coming with children, and sometimes it's pretty apparent that's not their biological child, you know. And I see them and I just think, wow, what incredible people, what an incredible joy they have in doing that. So tell me, what was it like for the volunteers who were in the room? You say you were there, and at least a couple other volunteers. What was it like for them to see this sibling reunion just happen all of a sudden?
Yeah. So a lot of times I'm in and out of the rooms, just kind of checking on things. So I came in after drop off had already happened, but the volunteers were like, this is just amazing. Like, they gave me a little bit of backstory of how drop off went, and they were in awe as well. They were just like, this is just awesome to be able to see this and witness this. So yeah, it was a really cool moment for everybody.
Yeah, I know when you shared it in staff meeting the next week, there were tears all over the room.
Yes.
It's one of the joys you get involved in when you get involved in something good. When you get involved in serving others, you get to see these kind of things, and it's just amazing to see.
It is, and I love this podcast really is a reminder to stop and celebrate those good things.
Yep.
And that was one of those moments for us as a staff. The weeks go by, and sometimes we have to remind ourselves to stop and celebrate. And this was one of those moments that we get to celebrate something good that's happening here, not just at Upward, but in Henderson County.
Yeah. How many would you say? I know you've done research and working with our foster partners. I think we have 2 different partners that we work with here in our local community. About how many kids are out there in need of foster care?
Yes. So there are almost 200 kids who are in foster care in Henderson County. And we are partnered with 2 different organizations. One of them is Fostering Hopes, who is connected with the Department of Social Services here in Henderson County. And the other organization is Cross-Nor, who serves Western North Carolina. So through both of those organizations, we're able to partner with them as they serve Henderson County to find kids homes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's the need out there for kids? I've heard that sometimes when kids, there's not a foster family for them in the community, what happens?
So of those 200 kids, there are about 60 kids who have not, as of last month, who we did not have a home for here in Henderson County just due to the shortage of foster parents. And so we had to divert them to another county to be able to find a home there. So they really had to be moved to another county to be able to find a home. So it really is, there's a shortage in foster parents right now, a shortage of people who are stepping up to be able to provide homes for these kids.
Oh, it's a fantastic opportunity here and now. One of the things we want for the Good News Hendo podcast to do is not just highlight good news for people to think about, which that's good and great, and we need to think more on good news, but it's also to give the opportunity for people to get involved with these causes we're going to be highlighting. if there's someone out there listening who just feels like this is something they may be called to, or just may feel like they want to find out some more about it, they could help, what would they need to do?
Yes, you can reach out. It's Fostering Hopes or Crossnor, either of those organizations. There's ways to get involved. The biggest need is foster parents. There's a deficit there, and we just really want to be able to find these kids homes, and it would be awesome if they could stay in Henderson County, in their home county. So that's definitely the biggest need, it would be to foster. But there's also other ways to get involved. You can volunteer in different ways at both of these organizations. They're always accepting volunteers for different needs, and you can give financially also to support them.
Yeah,
Yep.
Fantastic. I've heard in the foster community it takes people outside of the parents, outside of the foster parents, to actually make it work.
Oh,
Because they
absolutely.
need a support group. So there may be older couples, for instance, that could perhaps partner with a foster family to help them, provide some resources, some babysitting,
Yes,
how much
respite care is
support it takes.
huge.
Respite care,
Yeah.
yeah. So they can go to Fostering Hopes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Fostering Hopes Western North Carolina? Is it just Fostering Hopes Henderson County?
Yes.
What would they need to search to find
Yeah,
that?
you can search Fostering Hopes Henderson County, and then you can find their website there.
Yeah.
Also Crossnor. If
Yeah.
you search that, it'll be the very first link that comes up.
And there'd be opportunities to give to them, I'm sure, through their
Yes, on
website
both
as well.
sites.
Fantastic. Well, it's been good hearing this great story, and I really hope it's encouraged some people. I hope it's encouraged you, the listener out there, that there are many good things going on. You don't need to be discouraged so much about all the bad news. There's a lot of good things going on, and we're going to be yelling about those good things and shouting about those good things in the months to come. We're going to be back at least monthly with some good news. As we get more good stories, we may just be on more often than that, but the hope is this has encouraged the listeners, and the hope is we'll get some more people involved to create some good news. So maybe one day we'll be featuring a story from somebody who listened to the podcast and said, hey, I wanted to get involved in that community service somewhere. So thanks, Leann. It's been
cool.
great.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for listening. Great to have you here.
Well, thanks again for listening, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to episode 1 of Good News Hendo. This is going to be the first of many episodes. And like my dad said, our plan right now is to do this monthly, but if more good stories arise, we're not opposed at all to doing it more frequently. Not at all. You can follow the church on our social media accounts on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, it's at Upward CF. On Facebook, it's Upward Christian Fellowship. And like I said at the beginning of the episodes, we want to hear your good stories too. So whether you're local in Hendersonville or somewhere totally different, you can go to our website, ucf.cc, and click on the little circle in the lower left-hand corner and click on the Share My Story option. There you can tell us your stories, whether you're local or not, just good stories that have been happening in your community or in your life. We don't want to miss those just because you might be far away from Hendersonville, and we'd love to talk about all of your good stories on another episode of the podcast. So thanks so much for listening once again, and we'll be back with you at the very latest next month. Thanks.